In this class, we are going to discuss about a concept of series LCR circuit. So, previous to this class, we have discussed about AC applied to a resistor and AC applied to a capacitor, and also we have discussed about AC applied to inductor. So, we have also seen the phase difference between current and voltages in the capacitor, inductor and resistor separately. But in this session, what we are going to do is we combine these three equipments in a one circuit, and we are going to see what will be the phase relation between the current and the voltage. So this is what we have to understand in this class. So the name of the concept is series LCR circuit. Let me write the heading. Series LCR circuit. So we already know the meaning of this word, which is a series, because in the previous chapters we learnt about a combination of resistors as well as a combinations of capacitors. So from that concept, we know the meaning of series and parallel. And here, LCR circuit in series. So which are series then? LCR is series. Then what is LCR? So L means, that is a symbol we use for inductance. C is a symbol for capacitance, and R is a symbol for resistance, or you can say resistor. So these three components are there in the circuit. That is inductor, capacitor, and resistor. And these three components are connected in series, which form a circuit. That is why such a circuit is called as a series LCR circuit. And what is the advantages of such circuits? Because from the when we come to this chapter, we have studied separately the phase relation between current and voltages, and what is the use of that? So the main use of these LCR circuits are the study of AC applied to capacitor, inductor, or resistor is this is mainly used in tuning the frequencies. I can give an example of radio. If you want to tune a channel, if you want to hear one channel, you will rotate the knob over there. By rotating, you will tune one channel. The meaning is you are changing the frequency, and you will set that frequency to one particular frequency. So that whole process involves the series LCR circuit. That's happening because of these LCR circuits. So that is why we have studied the AC applied resistor, capacitor, and inductor separately. Now we are combining all these in a one circuit, and we are going to see its effect. So this is what the concept of series LCR circuit is. So let's get into this series LCR circuit. We need an inductor, capacitor, and a resistor. We should be connected in series. Let's take a circuit. Inductor, L, capacitor, C, resistor. So this is the supply voltage or AC source, which will give some voltage, and because of that voltage there is a potential difference. Because of the potential difference, current will flow in this circuit. And since the three components are connected in series, the current has to flow, all the three components should be same. Because it is there connected in series. So the current get only one path to the flow. So that is why whatever the current flowing through the inductor, capacitor and the resistor will be same. So let's say I is the current flowing through the three components. That is why current through the each component is same. We cannot define, we cannot say that the current through inductor, capacitor and resistor are different. We cannot differentiate the I because I through each component is same since they are connected in the series. Now, this is a current flowing through this. Now, so to from this diagram, we can find out the value of V. But when studying AC applied to resistor or a capacitor or a inductor, we were writing the instantaneous values of voltage. That equation was V is equal to Vm sin omega t. But we cannot write the similar equation here. Why? Because the potential developed by this or potential or the voltage created by this will not be same the voltage across the inductor or the voltage across the capacitor or the voltage across the resistor. In the previous cases, while we are studying these components separately, we are directly applying the KVL, and where we are getting that voltage across this component is equal to the voltage across some other component. But here we cannot write like that, since we have a three components, so that voltage across this cannot be equal to only a voltage across this one. Because there are three components, so that is why potentials are developed across three components also. Some of the if the initial potential, supply voltage is V. If the supply voltage V is the supply voltage of this, that voltage will be will split. So it will split like some quantity of voltage will develop across L, some other will develop across a capacitor, the remaining L are developed across a resistor. So if you take the sum of the potentials around these three components, that will be equal to the potential across this. Okay. So this is a basic knowledge, a basic thing we can understand from this diagram. Yeah. So let us derive this. So let's write since L, C, R, inductor, capacitor, and resistor are connected in series, current through series, the current through them is same. Current should flow, all these components should same. So let me write the equation for current now. Because through all the components current is same, that's why we can directly write the equation for current. I is equal to Im sin omega t plus phi. I've written as I is equal to Im sin omega t plus phi I have written. So phi means that is a phase difference here. Okay. If you consider a capacitor, that has some phase difference. If you consider an inductor, that has some phase difference. If you consider a resistor, it doesn't have any phase difference. That is why this could be our general equation for three components: inductor, capacitor, and resistor. If I consider resistor only, I can put phi is equal to 0. If you put pi is equal to 0, you will get omega t. And if you consider a capacitor, we should write pi is equal to plus pi by 2. Pi by 2 will be there. And if we consider inductor, value of phi will be minus pi by 2. So we can put any value to the phi. So it is a general equation for the three components, for the current to the three components. Yes. So I is equal to I1 sin omega t plus phi. So there is a phase difference. And this is the current which is flowing through these components, and this is V. V is a supply voltage. Now I should say that there is a phase difference between this supply voltage and the current flowing through that circuit. I'm directly saying you that there is a phase difference. There is a phase difference between I and V. They cannot reach the maximum value at the same time. That they cannot reach the minimum value at the same time. There is some phase difference. And why it is so? Why there is a phase difference between the current flowing through that circuit and the supplied voltage? This is because of the presence of inductor and the capacitor. Okay, so this happens. Voltage, the phase difference between the current and voltage, supply voltage and current to the circuit is because of the presence of this inductor and capacitor. How it is, we will learn it in detail while we get into this topic. I will explain it later. So now I have written I is equal to I1 sin omega t plus phi. Phi is a phase difference. So phi can be any value if you take the components separately. Now, so let us follow this procedure that we have followed in the previous cases. So what we have followed initially, it was we were applying the KVL to the loop. In the similar way, we can apply the KVL to this loop, applying KVL to loop. Applying KVL to the loop, supply voltages. What you can write in supply voltage? This is supply voltage. What I told you that supply voltage will be split as some voltage will develop across L, some other will across C, some other will across R. If you take the sum of this, you will get a supply voltage. That is why we can write V is equal to E is the supply voltage, and voltage across that L is VL plus VC plus small one we have write, small v have write, VC and VR. So this is according to the KVL. Yes. Now here we have three components. One is an inductor, capacitor, and resistor. And we already know that there is a phase difference between the current and voltage. So these are the three alternating components. Three components are there. Three components are there, and they have the alternating quantities. That is voltage and current. So since we have a three component circuit, so it will be difficult for us to show the phase difference between the current and voltage. Since it looks like since it becomes complex. So here you can say three components, and you can have a phase difference also, and it will be very difficult to show the phase difference between these components. To solve this problem, we'll go to the phasor diagram. So according to the phasor diagram, we'll try to show the relation between the phase difference between current and voltage. So we already know about the phasor. Phasor means it is a scaled vector. It is called as a scaled vector, and which can be rotated, through a origin with the angular speed omega. Yeah. Scaled vector means it is a measured vector. It has a particular value. So now let us draw the phasor diagram. Now we are trying to solve this with the help of phasor diagram. Let's draw the phasor diagram. So let me draw here. These are the x and y axes. Okay. Now let's take a wave. This is a curve for a sine wave for voltage. Let's take this is a sine wave for current. This is for voltage. This is for current. They are in phase. So that is why, according to the phasor diagram, what we can write is, if you take 2 points over here, then you can let me draw here. I will draw here. See, this is a voltage and this is a I, and they are in phase with each other. This is in the resistor, and if you consider a capacitor, in the capacitor current is, so graph will be like this. So this is for VC, that is VC, you can see VC, and in the case of inductor, voltage leads. Voltage leads. See, this is for VL. Okay, VC, VL. So if you take a points, see, I am taking the points over here. See, there are two graphs. Here also you can see. See, these are the points I have taken. So this is for VC, and here there are 2 points. See, this is the graph for VL. So this comes in second quadrant. This comes in first quadrant. That means I comes in first quadrant, VL comes in second quadrant. This is VC, so it comes in fourth quadrant. So in the first quadrant, I should be there. See, this is a phasor. Which is a phasor? That is, I can write V, capital V we should write. And since there is no phase difference between V and I, we can write I also here. I and V are in phase each other, so there is no phase difference. Now this VC comes in the fourth quadrant. This is the VC, and VL comes in second quadrant. See, this is a VL. VL comes in a second quadrant. Now, see, this is the, here you can see some phase difference, that is omega t plus phi. That's what I have written. Phase difference is omega t plus phi. Sorry, the total angle with the reference axis is omega t plus phi. So for I is omega t plus phi angle is there. Same I have written omega t plus phi, that angle is there. Now these are the 3 phases, that is V phasor, VC and VL. So sorry, this one I should write, VR. This is not V, that is a VR, because that is for resistor. So this is a phasor for resistor, phasor for capacitor, voltage phasor for inductor. These are the voltage phasors. And this is the current. So this is what you can see in this diagram. And if you look at this, we see this phasor, voltage phasor VC is anti-parallel to VL. If you look at the phasor diagram, what we can observe is VL or VC are anti-parallel to each other. Why this is so? Because see, when capacitor is connected to a AC circuit, then there was a phase difference of pi by 2. When an inductor was connected to AC circuit, then there was a phase difference of pi by 2. See here, this is the pi by 2 phase difference between the inductor and the current. The voltage of the inductor and the current, there is a phase difference of pi by 2. Similarly, there is a phase difference between current and voltage across a capacitor. Not voltages, this is the maximum voltage of capacitive circuit. So there was a phase difference pi by 2. So this is pi by 2, and this is pi by 2. So the angle between the VL and VC phases is 180. So that is why they are anti-parallel to each other. So if the two voltage phases are anti-parallel to each other, then we can take its reactive voltage. In other words, what I can say is, we can take resultant of these two voltage phases. So to find the resultant phases, we should take one condition. We can take one condition that the value of VC is greater than VL, or we can say VL is greater than VC. Any case we can take. So for this case, I am considering like VC is greater than VL. So these are the phases, voltage phases. Phasor means it is a vector. So this is what we understood here. These are anti-parallel to each other. That is why, and one condition you have taken that voltage across the capacitor is greater than the voltage across the inductor. Why VC will be greater? I will explain it while discussing this concept. So since they are anti-parallel, we can write its resultant voltage phasor, and since VC is greater than VL, the resultant phasor, voltage phasor or reactant voltage will be along this direction itself, because this value is greater than this. That is why the direction of V is also along this direction. Okay. Now let us write here from phasor diagram. Supply voltage phasor is given by supply voltage phasor means it is a supply voltage, nothing but supply voltage. Capital V is equal to capital VL plus capital VC plus capital V R. So these are the three voltage phases: VL, VC, and VR. So if you combine this, you should get V, which is similar to this law, this equation, which we obtained with the help of KVL. So VL, VC, and VR. So I told you that these three are vectors. So since they are vectors, we can write its magnitude. There are two kinds of magnitudes you can say in phasor diagram. One is phasor magnitude, another one is vector magnitude. Here we are writing the vector magnitude. So vector magnitude of the phasor means it is the peak value of that phasor. Vector magnitude means is its peak value of that phasor, and phasor magnitude means it is the RMS values of that phasor. So that is the difference. Here we are considering the vector magnitude of the phases. So this is it. Again, let us write the vector magnitude of this. Let me write here. Let me draw here. See here. Now, this is I or V. This is V. This is VR, and we have to write its a vector magnitude. Vector magnitude becomes its a peak value. So I can write a VRM. VRM is a vector magnitude. VRM is this one, and I is also this one. Now let me draw one more curve here, which is V. V means it is a Vs. V means it is Vs. Now see here, this is the angle of omega t. This angle is phi. See here, VRM and I are along the same line because there is no phase difference. So I am not written here. I am not written there. This is the VRM, is the magnitude, vector magnitude of this. So current and voltages of the resistor along the same line, along this line. See, omega t is angle from the reference axis to the supply voltage, and phi is angle from supply voltage to VR. So from this, what you can see is there is a phase difference phi between this I is along the same line, right? So there is a phase difference between this I and the supply voltage. I told you in the beginning that there will be phase difference between the supply voltage and current. This is what you can see here. Okay? Now this is V, and to this I, magnitude of this DC is like this. Let it be, and here it is. That is VL, but what you can write is this is the resultant. I told you that since they are antimatter of each other, we can write the resultant voltage, and it should be it always be it should be along the direction of this, because we took a condition that VC is greater than VL. Okay, that is why its magnitude can be written as VC minus VL, which is equal to, we can directly write as V. It is a resultant value. So VC minus VL. VC minus VL. This is what I have written here. I wrote its magnitudes. Now, if you look at this picture, there are three vectors you can see. See, this is one scaled phasor, scaled vector. This is also another vector which have a magnitude VRM. This vector has a magnitude VL. This is another vector, VC minus VL is another vector. This is another vector which having the magnitude VC minus VL. So since we have three vectors, we can take this vector to this point, because the direction is like this. The direction is like this. This is according to the triangle law of tradition. Okay, I am applying the triangle law of tradition. That is why what you can write is, here you can take VC minus VL. Okay, this is the direction. See, this is the direction of this vector. Direction of this vector is like this. So their resultant is this one. So that is why this is equal to sum of this. This is what we can understand here. So this looks like this looks like a right angle triangle. See, you can here right angle is formed here. Phi is an angle here. So if this is the right angle triangle, we can apply the Pythagoras theorem to this. What is our resultant? V is our resultant. So this is adjacent side, this is opposite side, this is hypotenuse side. So V is our resultant. Yes. So this should be, you should keep this in your mind. I'll come to that. So here we have written from the phasor diagram, supply voltage phasor is given by V, VL and VC and VR. The let's write the vector magnitude of phases are the peak values. Are the peak values. That is why what you can write is VL is equal to VM, which is equal to I can write IM into R. So its magnitude VL is equal to VM. So VL equal to VM. So that is equal to, sorry, this is a V. This one I have written VLM. VLM is equal to IM into resistance, that is XL. Sorry, I thought it is a R, but I have written L here. VL is equal to VLM. So maybe I can change the sentence also. The vector magnitude of the phasor are peak values. I can write like this. The phasor V, VL, VC, VRR. We can write small v and v means VLM, VCM, VRM respectively. We have written the magnitudes, vector magnitude of the phasors VL, vector magnitude of the phasors VL, VL, VC, VRR, VLM, VCM, VRM respectively. Hence, VRM, VLM, it's a peak value of the inductor that can be written as IM, because using the O4 we can write the value of this magnitude of this IM into IM is the current. Current through all the components should be same. That's why we should write IM only. Why I write IM means because we are writing the peak value of voltage. That is why IM into XL. So similarly, VCM is equal to IM I should write, because they're all through all the components same current is flowing. IM into XC. VRM, which is equal to IM into R. So these are the magnitudes of these peak values of those phases. Now I told you that. So we can get a right angle triangle over there. So we can apply the Pythagoras theorem. Applying Pythagoras theorem. Supply voltage is given by, you can find, we are finding the supply voltage here with the help of that. So what is our resultant here? That is V. Okay, hypotenuse side is V. So V square, it is the supply voltage one. V square is equal to VRM 2 whole square plus VC minus VL whole square. Now let's substitute the value here. We know the VRM means IM into R. So IM into R whole square plus VCM means it is IM into XC. IM into XC. VLM means IM into XL to the whole square. So this is the form of a square a minus b whole square. So you have to use a formula and you have to expand it. After expanding, you will see im square as a common. So you have to take the im square. Again, you should write the remaining as it is. You should write the remaining in this form itself. That is a minus b whole square format. So if you do so, I am not expanding this. Directly I am writing. That is im square I can write. Okay, im square here, r square is there, plus I told you that you should take out, you should expand and you should take the im square as a common here. So that you can write im square into remaining can be written as xc minus xcl whole square. So now take the im square as a common, so that you can write v square is equal to, okay, we have to write a peak value, right? That is my peak value of the supply voltage. Sorry, I should have written peak values, right? We are writing the peak values, vector magnitude of these values. Peak values, that is a Vm. So Vm square, okay, Vm square. So Vm square, then take the m square as a common. M square, remaining is r square plus xc minus xl whole square. So this is what we got. Now take the square root on both sides. Take the square root on both sides. That's why this cancels out. This square cancels out. So here im square cancels out. So this will have the square like r square plus xc minus xl whole square. Okay. So this is multiplying with this. That is why we can remove from here, but you can separate r square because it has a in addition with this. That's why you should write together. So that is why im equal to Vm divided by r square plus xc minus xl whole square to the whole root. So this is what we have got. So that further we can write this as Vm divided by, I have written a word Z. Z is called as the impedance of the circuit. So here, so from this, where Z is equal to square root of r square plus xc minus xl whole square is the impedance of the circuit. Then what is impedance? Impedance means it is nothing but a resistance. The term resistance is used in DC, but when we come to the AC, we use the impedance. So that is why impedance and resistance are one and the same. So it is a terminology used in AC and DC. So when you come to AC, we should say impedance. So that impedance is given by r square plus xc minus xl whole square. And the peak value of current in the circuit is given by Vm divided by Z. Yes. So these are the expressions we got here. Now see, here if you put xc and xl are equal, imagine that if you put xc and xl are equal, then what will happen? X is equal to xl, they cancels. They are equal, right? They cancels. We are left with r square to the root. R square and the roots are cancelled. Z is equal to what happens? R itself. So that is why if the xc and xl are equal, then current is equal to Vm divided by R. So what happens is, now the value of current increases. So if the Xc is equal to XL, then there is a maximum current flow in the circuit. So Xc means what? It is a capacitive reactance. XL means it is called as an inductive reactance. So capacitive and inductive reactance becomes equal, then the current will flow in the circuit is a maximum. So to flow the maximum value of current, you should make capacitive and inductive reactance 0. Then what will happen is, an interesting thing will happen. Then the phase difference between the current and voltage will vanish. That means the current and voltages will reach the maximum and minimum value at the same time. Then that means then there will be no phase difference between current and voltages when Xc is equal to XL. Then from this what we can understand is the phase difference between current to the conductor and the supply voltage exists because of the presence of two conductors, that is capacitor and inductor, and it solely depends upon the reactances of capacitor and inductor. I am repeating that the phase difference between which exists between current to the conductor and supply voltage is because of the Xc and XL. So if you look at this case, here we took a condition that Xc is greater than XL. Okay, Xc is greater than XL. That means that capacitive reactance is greater than XL. Okay, so in that case, if the Xc is greater than XL or Vc is greater than VL, then that circuit is more capacitive. Why it is more capacitive? Because the effect of capacitor is more than the presence of that inductor. Because Xc and Vc are greater than XL and VL respectively. Okay. So if X is greater than VL, then the circuit is more capacitive. So in the capacitive circuit, what happens? Current always leads the voltage. So if Xc is greater than XL, then this current leads the supply voltage. Okay. So if XL is greater than Xc, if the XL is greater than Xc, then we can say that it is an inductive circuit, because the effect of inductance is more over the presence of capacitor. That is why circuit is more inductive. So because of this reason, current lacks the supply voltage, because we know that in inductor current lacks the voltage. So the same thing will happen here also. So I told you that the phase difference, there will be a phase difference between the current in the circuit and the supply voltage, and that is because of the Xc and XL. Okay. And let us move one step forward, that why current leads in the capacitor. Let us ask a question, that why current leads voltage in the capacitor. We already studied the feature of capacitor, that it consists of two plates, and if it is connected in a AC circuit, for a positive half cycle it will get charged, where when the negative cycle comes, it will discharge. That means it will give some energy when the negative cycle comes, because whatever the charges stored during the positive cycle in the capacitor will be discharged when the negative cycle comes through that circuit. That is why even in the negative cycle also current will be produced by this capacitor. That is why current leads the voltage in the capacitive circuits. So this is the about series LCR circuit. Also we saw the relation between the voltage phases and the phase relation between the current and voltage. Now see, I told you that current through the circuit will be maximum when we make Xc is equal to Xl. So that current in the circuit is maximum. And this happens in a particular frequency. Okay, this is going to happen in a particular frequency, and that frequency will be called as a resonant frequency. Okay. So, then what is the use of that resonance frequency? So actually, this is a concept we use in the radios. I already given the example of that. If you are tuning a channel, if you are rotating the knob, you are tuning, you are selecting a particular frequency. How? Let me tell you. Your radio will have some antenna. That antenna will receive all kinds of frequencies. If you look at our surrounding, there are different kinds of frequencies which were broadcasted from the different stations. You can have the frequencies of TVs. You can have the frequencies of radios. In the radios also there are different stations. I hope you know that. You know about Red FM and Mangalore station and Big FM. There are different stations. All these stations have one particular frequency. So whenever you switch on the radio, this antenna of the radio will receive all kind of frequencies, but we cannot hear all together. So what to do? We should tune one channel. So to tune one channel, we should keep we should match the frequency. How to match them? We are varying the capacitance of the capacitor by varying the knob. So that what will happen? One frequency, you can set a one frequency. If your frequency and the frequency of that channel becomes equal, then you will listen the channel. You will listen the sound, and you can listen to that channel. So whatever the frequency you are setting, that is known as a resonant frequency. So at that you will get at that point you can clearly hear whatever the program that is broadcast in the channel. You can tune a channel. So when you are doing when you are setting the resonant frequency, at that condition current in the circuit will be maximum. Why it is maximum? Because Xc will be equal to Xl. Okay? I mean, when you are turning the knob of a radio means you are varying the value of capacitor as to set one resonant frequency. So this is the application of this series LCR circuit. So this is the equation for impedance of the circuit, that is Z is equal to square root of R square plus Xc minus Xl. So in the initial, in the beginning, we have wrote the equation for current, that is I is equal to Im sin omega t plus phi. There was a term phi, that is a phase difference. Then how to find that phase difference phi? Yeah. So that can be done with the help of a diagram called impedance diagram. We are drawing that diagram with respect to or in comparison with this. So let's draw. That is impedance diagram. We are drawing the impedance diagram. Why we are drawing impedance diagram is to show the to calculate the phase difference. Yeah. Here I have written Z is equal to R square plus Xc minus Xl whole square. Impedance diagram. We know the equation for impedance, that is Z is equal to R square plus Xc minus Xl whole square plus whole square root. So now let us take, let's square on both sides. What will happen? If you square on both sides, Z square is equal to R square plus Xc minus Xl whole square. See here, this is something like, looks like that we have been applied Pythagoras theorem. That's why we can take on right angle triangle. So this is the Z. Z is a hypotenuse side. One side is a R, another side is a XC minus XL. Okay. Let us write the phase angle. Here it is. Okay. So you can also you can compare this. In the place of this, initially we have written VMR we have written. Here we wrote VMC minus CM, right? RM, VCM, VLM. In this place, we have written VM. Okay, you can compare. This is the diagram what you have drawn previously. In comparison with this, we have written like this. So the angle between VRM and V it was pi. Same angle is we can see here also. So from this diagram, from impedance diagram, let's take tan of phi. Tan phi is equal to XC minus XL divided by R. Phi equal to, you can take the tan over there, tan inverse of XC minus XL divided by R. So using this equation, we can find the value of phase difference. That is, phi is equal to tan inverse of XC minus XL divided by R. We know the equations for capacitive reactances as well as inductive reactances. That's why you can modify this equation, or you can write phi is equal to tan inverse of X is equal to, you can write X is equal to omega C, and XL is equal to 1 by omega L. All right. Sorry, 1 by omega C, this is omega L, or divided by R. This is also another form of equation. And in other words, also you can write phi is equal to tan inverse of, with the help of Ohm's law, you can write, you already know this equation, that is the Rm is equal to Im into R, and Vcm is equal to magnitudes of these phases, Vc and Vr. So Vcm is equal to Im into Xc, Vlm is equal to Im into Xl. Okay. Now R equal to here R equal to, you can write Vrm by Im. Here you can write Vcm by Im. Here you can write Here you can write Vlm divided by Im. See here, in these three components we have Im as a common. If you substitute here, you can take the common. So you left with the Vcm minus Vlm divided by Vrm. So this is the another form of equation. See here, Vcm divided by Im, Vlm divided by Im. Both are the common base. Sorry, common denominator. take the I am outside. Here you have VR, sorry, yeah. Here you have VR divided by VR divided by IM is there. So if you inverse it, you can cancel the IM. That's why you, again you left with the VCM minus VL divided by VR. So this is it about the this is about this is about the phase angle